Hey guys! So if you are watching this video, that means that you just purchased my 3 Dreamy presets, which are my absolute 3 favorite presets that I use when editing every single session in my business. I've been working super hard and I formatted them for the Lightroom app so that you guys can start editing your photos with those presets and make the most cohesive, beautiful Instagram feeds. You can print photos right from your iPhone. Anything that you want to do, I want to teach you how to use these and modify them, change them, do anything you want to create the look that you want for your photos. So let's get ready to go. And first up, I'm going to be giving you guys a little tour around Lightroom just in case you're not familiar with the app yet. So first things first, if you do not yet have the Lightroom app downloaded onto your phone, go ahead and pause this video and download it right now. It is free in the App Store, and I'm going to open it up here and give you guys a little tour, show you around, show you some of the most used tools and the things that you're going to have to get super familiar with when you become an editing pro. All right, so here we have the Lightroom app on my phone. I'm going to click to open it and scroll through and choose a photo that is my favorite that I want to go ahead and edit right now, just as an example. If your photos are not automatically repopulating, you can choose the little button in the bottom right-hand corner with the plus sign, and it will take you to your iPhoto. So here we are inside Lightroom, and I just clicked on the crop button, and here you can sit and crop your image in any way that you want. You can also rotate your photos, so if you took a crooked picture and you want to straighten out the horizon line, you can do that here. You can change the aspect ratio of your photos, so you can make them a square for Instagram, or you can make them a specific size for printing if you want to frame something up on your wall. When you're done with your crop, if you hit the check mark, that sets whatever you cropped and did, and you can move on to lighting, coloring, etc. So if we go over to the right a little bit more and click on the light button, this is someplace you're going to be every time you edit a photo. Right now, I'm changing the exposure and making it lighter and darker, and of course I'm doing it to an extreme so you can see what happens when we do that. But after you apply a preset, you're going to come to exposure almost immediately and mess with that first. Next is contrast, and that kind of punches up your photo a little bit, intensifies the blacks, and makes everything a little bit more intense. Highlights is basically changing the exposure of just the highlighted portion of your photo, anything that's a bright color. And the shadows is changing the exposure of anything that's in shadow, which is something that's really, really awesome for when you're taking photos in harsh light and you want to even out the shadows with your base exposure. With blacks, if you just want to kind of intensify anything that's the color black in a photo, kind of helps make things a little bit intense. I kind of like using it when I feel like the photo's a little washed out. Now moving on over to the color tab, temperature and tint is what is responsible for your skin tones, and in this case, the fur tone. So after you apply a preset and get the exposure just right, you're going to come over and you're going to mess with the skin tones until you get the temperature of the skin tone just right. And the same with tint, they work hand in hand. You add a little bit of yellow, you add a little bit of pink, and you can make the skin tone look just right no matter what the lighting situation. At the bottom here is vibrance and saturation. Vibrance makes all of the colors more vibrant or less vibrant, and saturation is, as you can see here, how much saturation of color there is in the photo, all the way down to black and white. Now, if we go all the way to the right, I have all of the presets that are included in this lesson plan already downloaded. I'm clicking through them, and as you can see, they change the look of the photo a lot. And this is where you're going to start with every edit. You're going to start with the preset, and then you're going to move all the way back over to light, and you're going to change and modify from there. Alright guys, now it is time to download our presets. What I am trying to do with these is basically the opposite of the one-click preset. I am trying to give you guys something that is a great starting point, and sometimes it'll be a one-click preset and you're done, and most times you're going to have to move the temperature and tint a little bit and move the exposure a little bit. Any other modifications you make are completely up to you, but they're a really good starting place to either edit your photos using them completely or modify my preset, change things around, find the colors and the temperatures and the exposures that work for you and the look that you're going for, and then create your own preset off of my preset. So before we jump in, I want you to have your DNG files downloaded onto Google Drive. It's easiest to download the zip folder and open it up on your computer. Then take those DNG files, put them into your Google Drive on your computer, and then open up your Google Drive on your phone, and the DNG files will be right there, ready for you to open up in your phone. It's hard to open a zip folder just using your iPhone. You need a special app, and it gets kind of confusing. So if you can use your computer to unzip the file and throw them into your Google Drive, have that ready, have your Google Drive open with the DNG files in it on your phone, and we'll get started. All right, so I am opening up my Google Drive on my phone, and I'm going to go ahead and click on the best black and white DNG. As that opens up, I'm going to click the three little dots in the top right-hand corner and hit Open In. Once you do that, it takes a second to export and get it ready. You're going to get the little wheel of death there for a second, and then you're going to click Lightroom CC and launch Lightroom now. As you can see, it is down there at the bottom. It says DNG in the corner. You're going to click on that, hit the three little dots in the top right again, and then you're going to hit Create Preset. Right here, you're going to throw the name in, which is the best black and white, because this is my favorite black and white preset I use in all of my sessions, and I've reformatted it to be used on the mobile app just for you guys. And now it's saved in there for you to use. Once you've repeated that process for all three of the presets that are included in this pack, go ahead and open up your iPhoto and pick your very favorite photo or one that you've taken recently that you really want to edit, add a little oomph to, something that you want to modify, and see how this all works out, and we'll get started from there. I suggest going through and watching this video first without doing anything on your phone. Just watch me edit the whole thing and then rewind it a little bit and watch me do it while doing it on your phone at the same time. If you have this up on a computer or on your iPad, watch the video and do it on your phone at the same time if you can. All right, here we have baby Makai at his newborn shoot. This is an iPhone photo that I took just for this purpose. We are starting by cropping the photo in the exact way that you want. For this purpose, I'm going to crop it into a square for Instagram and get rid of some of that extra background noise we don't need. If you need to straighten out your photo, now's the time to do that. This one happened to be straight, so we don't need to. And I'm going to hit the little check mark at the bottom right and slide right over to presets. Here you click through the presets and you're going to choose the preset that you think most closely represents the vibe you're going for. Obviously, the temperature and tint is going to be off, but we're going to change that right now. So first, we head over to light, and you're going to mess with the exposure and get the brightness of the photo where you want it to be. So you're going to mess with exposure and shadows, kind of back and forth until you get just the perfect balance between the two. You want the shadows to be bright enough that you don't have super dark, harsh shadows, but you don't want them to be so bright that you don't have contrast in the photo, because of course you need to have contrast in a photo for it to look good. So just kind of play with those sliders back and forth until it looks exactly the way that you want it. You can add a little black to the photo to punch it up if it's a little washed out, and then head over to color. Here is the most important part of editing, and that's skin tone. If you get skin tone that's too yellow or too pink or too green, you're gonna have a baby that looks sick if he's too green. So make sure you mess with that until you get the skin tone just right, and then you can play with vibrance and saturation if you want to. In this case, we don't need to. So I'm gonna hit the little download button in the top. It's the second one over on the top right. And I'm going to hit save to camera roll and maximum available. And now that's saved to your camera roll. I reset settings here, and I'm going to show you an edit on the other presets as well, so you can see the difference in presets on the same photo. So here we are running with the Ride or Die, which is my main preset I use on pretty much everything, and modify, of course. So I'm going through the same process, changing the exposure, changing the shadows, getting the color, the temperature, the tint, everything exactly the way that I like it for this specific photo. When I took these photos, it was a really gloomy, dark day, so it was an interesting test to get the right light for an iPhone photo, but we did okay, and I think he looks pretty darn cute myself. And we're going to save that guy so you can kind of compare between the two different presets and see which edit you end up liking the best at the end. I reset it back to the original photo again, and now we're heading over to the best black and white, which is my favorite black and white preset. I use this in all of my sessions, and I gave it to you guys. So you can modify the contrast, you can modify the exposure and the shadows to get the right levels of darks and lights in your black and white photo, depending on whether it was outside or inside that you shot. And once you mess with the contrast sliders and crop it, you're good to go. You do not need temperature and tint on a black and white photo. Save that guy to the camera roll, and you are good to go. All right, we are going to head outside now, and I'm going to edit the shot of my puppy clicker just to show you how the presets work with outdoor lighting, and just to give you another example. So I first pull up the shot, go over to presets, and then I'm going to click through and see which one I'm going to land on, which one I feel for this vibe, and for right now, that is going to be Ride or Die. That's the one I always land on because it's my favorite. Now, clearly, he's too yellow. He's got too much orange, and so we're going to fix that right now very easily. If you click on a preset and it doesn't immediately look perfect, that's normal. You are going to have to mess with the temperature and tint and the exposure on almost every photo you take when you apply a preset, because the preset doesn't know if you took it outside or inside on a gloomy day, a sunny day. So I am going through the same steps as I did previously. I'm messing with my shadows, I'm messing with my exposure, trying to get the light just right. And you can bounce back and forth between color and light. You want to go in and make him a little warmer, bring up the yellows a little, mess with the vibrance, mess with the saturation, and get whatever combination you want in this photo. Now I'm heading back over to light, and I decide, we're going to bring those shadows down a little bit. We don't need them to be quite so bright. And we are saving him to camera. All right, back to the original photo. And we are going to do one more edit. It's a whole mood. This one's a little moodier, a little more desaturated. And I really like it for outdoor, really bright shots. It works awesome for harsh lighting. This wasn't super harsh lighting, but it's still a super fun preset, and especially if you like the more desaturated look. So it was a little overexposed for the specific shot, so I brought the exposure down. I'm bringing the shadows down, kind of bringing a little moodier look than the previous edit. I'm going to bring the warmth up a little bit, bring in some of those pinks, and then take the saturation up and down just to show you what it does to the photo. And there is no right or wrong here. You can do whatever you want, whatever you think looks the best. This is where your artistic nature comes out and you get to be in charge of your edit. Once you get the photo to exactly where you want, we're going to save that to the camera roll as well. And then I'm going to also show you how to create your own preset. So you used my preset as a base, but now you've made a bunch of adjustments and you think, man, I love the way this looks. You hit those little 3 dots at the top right, hit create preset, and now name the preset whatever it is you want. You started out with It's a Whole Mood, but now you've created something totally different that's pretty unique in yours. Or you made a bunch of edits and it's something you want to apply to a bunch of photos you took in that same spot. Create a preset, and now it's in your preset list. All right, guys, that's it. So hopefully now you have all of the tools you need to go ahead and start editing all of your photos and making beautiful, cohesive Instagram feeds, editing photos so you can print them and put them up on your walls. And if you are posting to Instagram, please, please, please hashtag your photo 3Dreamy presets so I can see all of the pretty things you're creating and I can highlight you on my feed. Thank you so much for supporting my business and my dream, and I just can't wait to see what you guys all create. And one more thing, if you have any questions about any of your edits, about how to do anything, or you just want my opinion on something, feel free to slide into my DMs on Instagram at Brooke_Ziegler_photography, and I would be more than happy to help you out with anything that you need.